Hello everyone, my name is Rochelle Innocent and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Purpose. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Our community is focused on fostering the intellectual and character development in children. We do this through our parent-child workshops that focus on 4 themes: autonomy, self-efficacy, compassion, and self-concept, in order to cultivate grit, perseverance, and resilience in each child. At Project Purpose, our overarching mandate is to renew and rebuild families, communities, and relationships. Our YouTube platform provides us with an opportunity to have discussions on all topics that relate to families, communities, and relationships with ourselves as well as with others, with a primary focus on mental health and education. More precisely, the ways that the institutions of mental health and education play a role and have played a role in our societies at large. These discussions and debates provide us with an opportunity to think critically about what needs to change within these structures in order for us to live up to our bold slogan: support, protect, and empower each child through youth-focused development, better known as leadership in juvenescence. For those of you who are particularly passionate about the topic, we also do write thought pieces on our website, so please be sure to check that out once you finish watching this video. Now, as is the YouTube convention, please do subscribe, hit that post notification bell so that you're aware of every time we post, and of course, like, comment, and share this video. Let's get into it. Oh, hello. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to chat with you again during our week on mental wellness. And this is video 2 of mental wellness this week. And this conversation is going to be a nice, relaxed conversation between you and I on how to protect your peace. And I love this conversation because it involves different strategies and different even ways of being that allow us to just enjoy moments of peace in our lives, despite this whole idea that life is supposed to be this rat race and you're running from one thing to another thing. No, sometimes life involves just enjoying moments of peace. And you know, unfortunately, the unfortunate truth is sometimes to enjoy a moment of peace, you need to protect your peace, because there are people out there who are who are what I like to call peace poachers. Yes, people who go out of their way to steal your peace from you and to keep you in a state of mayhem. And that is not something that bodes well for our mental health in the long run. So I want to talk first about the different things that steal away from our peace. And then I'm going to talk about different strategies to stay clear of those things. So if we recognize some of what happens in our lives around us, like that are really just ways that people try to take energy from us, then that's half the battle. Knowing, you know, what's going on like behind the scenes is part of how we protect ourselves and protect the peace that, you know, we all have right to in our lives. So I think I'm going to cover 5 in this video. I think 5 is a nice number. First strategy, or the first sort of thing that happens in our lives, are, you know, random bids for war and bids for chaos. Now, what is this? I mean, this could easily be translatable to, you know, you're doing your classwork and, you know, when you were back in primary school and someone launched a spitball in your hair. Did you ask for them to launch a spitball in your hair? No, they just looked at you and something told them, like, I want to irritate this person today. A few decades later, we still find that there are, you know, ways that people launch the proverbial spitball in our hair, and these are through bids of war and bids of chaos. And this is when people sort of seek to create issues with us from apparently nowhere. And this can happen in many different ways. This could be through gossiping, through manipulation, lying, you know, trying to, you know, create division within your life, create dissension in your life, and it all seemingly from nowhere. And these are what I like to call bids for war and bids for chaos. And I have to link a video down below because Anna Akana, who is a creator that I watch quite frequently, did a great skit on this. on how, there are people who just see you living your best life, enjoying peace, and it irritates them, and they go out of their way to try to disrupt that. And I think knowing that certain happenstance, like certain things that happen in our lives are happening because these people are demanding attention from us. And sometimes it's upsetting enough and it's emotionally jarring, and it can even be traumatizing with some of the bids for war that these people do within our lives. And we want to engage, but it's going to be a never-ending battle. And I can tell you this from experience. When people, do these bids for war and these bids for chaos, their reward is your attention. These are people who don't care how they get your attention, whether it's positive or negative attention. They just want all of it. So despite some of the damage that they're doing with, with their little game, strategy that I have found with years of, maturation behind me is to do nothing. I find like you let these people spin out and you don't play their game their way. And like watch. I like to kind of watch from afar. I don't like to involve myself in this kind of drama. I think once you tap into peace, like once you've experienced like real just peace, these moments, these bouts of drama just feel, they're just uninteresting. They're not appealing to me. I'd rather focus my energy on building project purpose, on putting new ideas into reality, on like having really thought-provoking discussions, or reading a really great book, or like time with my friends and people that I care about. I really find that I have this very little, if not any, threshold at all for people who kind of do these bids for war and these bids for chaos for my attention. And I find that indifference is the best strategy. And what I find is, while it's upsetting when you have like the rumors going around and like people manipulating sort of the impression that others might have of you, and some of the way that it's hurting the reputation that you spent a lot of time building and creating, I think what you'll find is your ride or dies, like the people who are in your corner, they question what they're hearing and they stick by you regardless. And sometimes, you have to just kind of level set, just kind of put it out there, like, whatever is happening here is not, the whole truth sort of deal. But I think the best way that I have found in dealing with these bids for war and these bids for chaos is truly just disengaging completely, and disengaging from not only the people who are kind of enacting the bid for war and the bid for chaos, but for anyone else who's buying into it. I think that when these moments occur in our lives, it's an opportunity to create anew. It's an opportunity to start a new chapter, and those who didn't buy into the drama can be part of that chapter, and those who did, the chapter of my life and that ended with that bid for chaos and those bids for war also ended, some of those relationships as well. And that's sort of the way that I would advise anyone to kind of deal with a bid for chaos and bid for war to protect their peace. Just opt out of it, and for those who are opting into it, just know that it is sort of the marking of an end of a chapter, and you're approaching a new chapter. It will give you an opportunity to meet new people who value peace just as much as you do. So my second tip for protecting your peace is recognizing that indifference is a gift. And me, I'm someone, I think I've mentioned in a few videos, I'm hot or cold, I'm up or down. I very rarely have been sort of within the state of indifference or state of neutrality. And I've learned that when you choose indifference, when you choose to not care, you retain so much power in indifference. And I know that there's a quote that says, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. And it's so true, because any other emotion, you're still feeding into that situation, you're still feeding into that scenario, it's still taking time and energy from you. But when you choose indifference, you give nothing of yourself to that situation or to those people who are creating drama and wreaking havoc on your life. And I've learned that indifference is a choice that has protected my peace in so many different situations. And it's disruptive to those who want more from you, but for those who don't deserve more from you, the best response is to not care. And sometimes easier said than done, right? But I like to do the 5-year test. Is this going to matter to me in 5 years? Most of the time, the answer is no. And if the answer is going to be no, then indifference is the right option to choose. Or even indifference is like, is this person respecting my boundaries? This person, like, is the way that they're showing up even a demonstration of me wanting to continue to put value on this relationship? And if the answer is no, then it's a great opportunity to trigger that indifference switch. And I do believe it's a switch, and I think the more mindful we become, the more aware we become, the more accessible indifference is to us in situations where the best answer is neutrality. So the third strategy for protecting our peace is managing the inner dialogue. And for me, I have 3 buckets for my inner dialogue. One is time and place. There are certain inner conversations I have with myself that, like, at the exact wrong time, you want to start having this inner conversation about, like, laundry and, chores and things that you need to do. And it's like, this isn't the time for that. And mindfulness is about sort of being in the moment and being present. And sometimes that means turning off that inner dialogue, or telling it, or like teaching it, not even teaching it, coaching the inner dialogue about time and place. It's like, yes, I absolutely do need to cover this. I need to think about this. I need to sort through this and come up to a resolution, but this is not the time and place for me to do that. And you put it on the back burner. And this is why meditation is such a great practice, because it teaches you how to be A, the watcher of your thoughts, and B, how to put things away to then manage them when you are ready to do so. And this isn't the same as suppression, because you acknowledge the thought, you respect the thought, you know that it's something that you need to work through, but you know that now is not the time and place. So meditation is a great exercise to build the muscle to be able to recognize your role as a watcher of your thoughts, and to put the thoughts that are not helpful to you by way of you staying in the present on the shelf until you're ready to deal with it. The second bucket for managing my inner dialogue is no-go zone. There are some thoughts that I consider to be intrusive thoughts, and these are thoughts that are not going to be helpful to me, regardless of when or where I engage with them. So these thoughts are what I denounce, so kind of like eradicate them. It's like, these thoughts are never going to be thoughts that are helpful or are going to help me protect my peace or help me maintain a certain level of mental wellness. So I'm choosing to completely do away with these thoughts. These thoughts are a no-go zone. They're always going to be the thoughts that I shift away. It's like, nope, these are like, don't want these thoughts, move from me. And I mentioned before, not every thought that kind of pops up is deserving of time and attention. And your mind, sort of your subconscious, will pop around thoughts based on what you see or what you've interacted with, and it'll show up, and it's for you with practice and with mindfulness to recognize, what thoughts are worthy of engagement and what thoughts just need to go. And so that's what I kind of put in my no-go zone bucket, and I put enough practice behind it that if I decide that a thought is a no-go zone thought, it's there and it typically doesn't resurface. It's gone forever. And then the last bucket that I have are my helpful rabbit hole thoughts. And these are thoughts that typically will translate into engagement and conversations and discussions with other people. And so these are like the little tidbits of insight, like those bright ideas and the thoughts that I like to put out there in the ether and have discussions to see what we can build out of this thought, build some sort of critical mass out of it. So the inner dialogue can become an external dialogue at different situations, and sometimes we kind of create this dissociation between the inner dialogue and the conversations we have with others, and I like to build a bridge. So any of my thoughts that I consider to be helpful rabbit hole thoughts, I typically like to engage other people so that we can build something really beautiful out of that thought, and I can have multiple perspectives sort of on it as I figure out how it's going to shape and mold in reality. So definitely my third tip is managing the inner dialogue, and by all means, come up with your own buckets. For me, having time and place, no-go zone, and helpful rabbit holes have been the best helpful buckets for me. But if there are other buckets that you feel are beneficial for you, please do comment down below, send me an email. I'd love to know how you manage your inner dialogue. So my fourth tip on how you protect your peace is knowing how and when to calm yourself down. Protecting your peace sometimes means speaking up. And I know that some of us have had those situations where it was safer to say nothing, but then later on you experience a lot of regret because it was probably a moment where you should have used your voice and used the power behind your voice. So I think recognizing when, despite how comfortable or uncomfortable it is the right opportunity to speak up, and that will protect your peace later. And also knowing when, this is the right opportunity to pipe down, and how that will protect your peace later on. And this is something, honestly, it took me many, many, many years to even figure out. And I still get it wrong sometimes. I'm someone who, I'm pretty vocal. I'm a pretty vocal human being. And I've learned that not everything that I think, that I feel, that I believe, I need to share or sort of broadcast to the world around me. And sometimes when you don't recognize what things you should probably keep to yourself, you harm your peace as opposed to protecting it. And I think just knowing what moments require action to protect your peace and what moments require inaction to protect your peace really drills down to understanding yourself and knowing what your value system is, because a lot of what will harm or kind of eradicate at your peace is when you do something or you fail to do something that aligns with your value system. So it's very important that you live in authenticity in order to be able to protect your peace, and doing that means that your actions align with what you believe to be true, whatever that might be. And I'm not sort of preaching a given truth. I think that it's just making sure that whatever your truth is, you align your actions and your behaviors to that truth in and of itself. And so the last one that I wanted to talk about is the fallacy of escapism. And I am someone who loves to run, well, not anymore. I can't say that I love now to run away from my problems, but I have definitely, for the majority of my life, been someone who runs away quite eagerly and enthusiastically from my problems. And let me tell you something. Escapism is something that is very much romanticized in movies and it always turns out well. But in real life, when you run away from your problems, they run away with you. They don't leave you alone. They come along with you. So I found that protecting my peace really involves confronting my problems, confronting those situations, those tricky, prickly scenarios that you'd rather avoid at all costs. And then you go away in peace, right? So maybe you still want to move away, but you deal with the problem first, you lay it to rest, and then you go and do your thing. I think that a lot of us practice escapism because we feel like it's the easier option to just leave it well enough alone or to bury it and play ostrich. But let me be the first to tell you, you won't stop being persecuted internally from that situation until you lay it to rest. And me having had to deal with some pretty significant issues that I would have much rather laid to rest, while it was prickly to deal with them, the peace that I felt afterwards was priceless, invaluable. So now that I've had a taste of what happens when you choose to be brave and you choose to show up with courage and you face those issues and you confront them and you truly lay them to rest, I recognize that escapism is truly a fallacy. And while it is still quite a habit, when I'm not where I want to be, I'm very good at, creating, these fantasies about what it's going to be like when I get there and kind of escaping in my mind's eye. But I've learned that in order for me to really get there and to have it be the experience that I imagine, I need to deal and resolve the issues that are happening present day. And running away from those issues just means that they get to stay longer and, persecute me internally and steal away from my peace, which, is not a good game for anybody. So definitely escapism is something we do away with. 2021, we deal and confront our issues head on, yes, so that we move forward in peace, right? And in peace doesn't mean that you make peace with everyone. Sometimes protecting your peace means you let people go. And if there are people in your life who are consumed with drama, they do not know how to live peacefully or peaceably with other people, and you're looking to find some peace in your life, it might mean, the next chapter of your life means kind of creating distance from the people who like and who feed off drama. I was someone who I don't think I had a real sense of the tax that chaos and drama has on our well-being and has in our lives, and how much it is draining to have drama and chaos, because we feed off of it, right? Like news is drama and chaos. Anything in the media is drama and chaos. It seems that our culture is completely saturated with drama and chaos, and it's just this exhausting funnel of information that is stressful. And when you find a little piece of peace, you realize that I don't need to live in this rat race, or I don't need to live in this whirlwind of drama and chaos. Peace is much better. You know, I feel happier. My state of being is much more uplifted when I focus on maintaining a certain degree of peace in my life, and I build different strategies within my lifestyle that protect my peace so that it's not, you know, unnecessarily sort of picked apart. So anyway, this is a short video, but I definitely want to have a conversation on how to protect your peace. I wanted to give you some tidbits on how I protect my peace. And I definitely want to hear from you, because I know that there are more strategies than 5, and I'm curious. I would love to put some of your strategies into practice if you have something you'd like to share with me. So definitely don't be shy. Be sure to subscribe if you made it to the end of the video, and definitely like, comment, and share this video. So that was this week on mental wellness. I really had fun chatting with you, and until next time, talk soon.